Let's give a warm welcome to Borce. A little bit about you, Borce, just to introduce you. Borce is CEO and founder of IMA. He's managing partner of IGA, Growth Hacker Sales Technology, FinTech, CHM providers, e-commerce software providers, AI and ML in general, and nearshoring outsourcing IT services. Borce helps businesses integrate the right sales and marketing stack of tools, integrate different systems, and create sales processes and automation. His experience includes working with many technologies and IT niche industries, and he's also a value selling advocate. Borce always tries to obtain additional knowledge and add real value. He focuses on building relationships, partnerships with clients, and delivering. He walks the talk. Now, Borce, the floor is all yours. You will be covering the topic email lead generation, avoid doing it the wrong way, and learn everything on how to do it right.
Thank you, Monica, for the intro. You couldn't say it better, and I'm always shy about presenting myself. So thank you for doing that for me, so I can focus on the main topic directly. And thank you for having me. Thank you for this opportunity, Dancho. I'm really pleased that I could join the first summit and add real value to the participant. And hopefully, as you mentioned, next year we can help you co-organize a bigger live event. So why I choose this topic, especially for the email lead generation. Of course, I have a bit of a, let me begin again. So I've been doing lead generation and sales for the past 10 years. I'm a software engineer by background, and I was always looking to scale my business and try to automate things and process until I've learned that I did some mistakes. Of course, I did. Everybody learn on the hard way when you spend money and time. And one of the things that you cannot return in life is time. So I wanted to cover which things you should avoid if you plan to start with your email lead generation campaigns. Of course, first you need to understand that email as a channel or as a tool for outreach is very crowded and busy. So to break the noise and to make sure that your email is delivered to the right person, you need to understand what you try to accomplish. What is your end goal there? If we're talking about cold outreach, then you should realize that these people don't know you, and you have very, very limited time when they open the email, if they open it, of course, that you need to grab their attention. So in order to get to that point, you need to follow some technical guidelines on how to properly set up your email ecosystem and how to scale it. For example, if you're doing email outreach directly from your main email, the domains that you have, for example, my website domain is internationalmarketingagency.com. And if I'm doing email outreach with that domain, with my original email I use with clients and colleagues internally, then I'm risking to mark my domain as a spam and to ruin the domain authority. And of course, you are probably investing in SEO and other marketing campaigns, and you don't want to make your domain blacklisted. So in order to prepare a proper lead gen setup, email lead gen setup, you need to first register domain analysis. Like if my domain is frog, then I need to register dfrog or with other extension or dfrog.net, then do a proper authentication on those domains. Once I buy those domains, I need to also check if they are not blacklisted elsewhere, because domains expire, people buy the domains, then they leave it. But if they're marked somewhere, you need to Google some tools where you can search the domain authority. Once you found the right domains, then you buy it. And the next thing you should do is to start warming up those domains. In order to warm up, you need to add an SPF verification, DKIM, and CNAMEs. So you will properly sign your domains that the email sent originates from that specific domain. And once you have the domains bought, you probably either you should use Namecheap or GoDaddy. Then once you bought them, you need to add domain forwarders to your main domain. Once that it is done, next step is, as I mentioned, you need to verify the DKIM, DMARC, and SPF records. And in order to do that the easiest way, depends on which client are you using. I prefer to use G Suite because ease of use and the viruses protection it has against the Office 365 suite. Then you should host these domains and verify the MX records on your G Suite workspace. Once you're done with that setup, it is very easy to use. If you have a GoDaddy account and then you have a G Suite account, then G Suite is very smart and will notice that you're using GoDaddy, and you have one click and all the MX records will be added. Next step you should do is to enroll your domain. I prefer for large email outreach to use QuickMail. Then once you add these domains on QuickMail, QuickMail will guide you through the process of adding CNAME and DKIM. Once that you go through that setup, there is a short guide. Once you add that, you are done with the verification. The next step is you need to start warming up those domains. Because if I start sending a large scale outreach, probably because Google is smart and all other email providers, the spam filters will notice that your email accounts exist for very short period and probably will end up in spam. And if they start ending up at spam at the very beginning, then forget about that domain and you will never bring it back. So once you have the proper setup ready, I will just recap: buy a new domain, add that domain on your G Suite package, set up the domain forwarder to your main domain, the website you're using, follow the steps to add the MX records, CNAME records, and the SPF records, and you're good to go. Once you will see green lights in your tools that the verification is done, then I recommend to start an email warm-up process. I'm using a tool called Warm Up My Email. You add your emails there. The very good option is to start and follow the process there. So the warming up should start with 3 emails the very first beginning, like you're a new user, to simulate, but the tool is very good to simulating that, and then to increase it to 35 emails per day. But this needs to be done gradually, the warming up process. So you would do this in the span of 2 weeks, but the tool is very easy to use and will guide you through the steps and how to accomplish that. Also, if you have a private pool of email addresses, I'm not saying that you should be sending emails to private users or their private email accounts, but for example, our colleagues, we have in the company here like 50 emails, which we also add to this verifying email warming up process, and to send the emails to the private ones. And if some of these emails arrive in spam or if it's an Outlook, it will arrive not in the main inbox. Try move these emails to the main inbox. After these 2 weeks are done, then I recommend, I know this is a bit too technical, but in order to come to the point where we can talk about the content and the conversion, this is a very crucial thing to do. I was doing this very poorly, like 10 years ago. I was using Phantom Buster and spamming people from my computer, which I was using as a client, but that's a not sustainable solution. So if you want to do it the right way and you scale your email outreach, then I recommend follow this process. So you will make sure that you can, this will process with guarantee that you can send a lot of emails to the right people. So once this technical setup is done, you can go to SMTP, then buy a SMTP relay server with your own dedicated IP address. On that way, you will make sure that no one is sending any outreach from that IP address. These tools are not expensive, and in general, they cost like 50 to $100. But if you have the infrastructure and invest like $500, then you can be rest assured that you can send 10,000 emails at scale, and these emails will end up in the people inboxes. So once you have done that on quick mail, once you have the emails ready there, the tools for which you will be using for the outreach, you can add the outbound server, outbound emails to be rotated through this SMTP server, while the inbound will remain. On SMTP, it's very easy to add your to create a sender alias. You will add it as a sender, then you can use the two-way authentication factor. You will have the details for the outbound SMTP. You just need to add that SPF record in the domain DNS zone. And once you set up the quick mail tool, you will choose the outbound emails to go through your email SMTP server, while the inbound will still arrive in your regular one. Once you have this ready, now it's time to add your list there. Of course, when you're adding a list and prospect for emails, make sure that these emails have existing inboxes. For example, you can use Apollo, but we've noticed that the quality of emails of Apollo are not that good. So you want to cross-check them, even though if there's the best and the cheapest alternative out there. You would like to use an extra layer of email verification to go and clean those lists, and before you push them to the quick mail. Once you have that setup ready, quick mail also have a cleaning has a cleaning tool which can be used. Once you start the outreach, quick mails will just stop the outreach to those emails which they think are not verified. And now, once the setup is ready, we come to the main part. What do you want to achieve from your email outreach? Just know that if these people don't know you, this is a cold outreach. So you shouldn't be sending emails so they can register somewhere or ask people to go the extra mile for you. Because golden rules in sales is people buy from people they trust. So in order to make this campaign successful, because you're sending emails for the first time, you should avoid any links included, HTML content, any additional tracking if you're doing for the first time, because that HTML codes and tracking codes, which usually is a JavaScript, will get caught by the spam filters, and your email won't end up in the inbox. And this is where you want to get their attention. So now, you have the setup ready. Let's assume the setup is ready. You have the list ready, cleaned and verified, handpicked all those people. They're the right decision makers for your business. The proper thing you need to do afterwards is proper segmentation, because you can't just push the same email to all the people. So you need to plan to have people segmented. Don't fall out for these email personalizations, which you can tools you can use like Smart Writers, Line AI. We've tested all, and basically these are web scraping tools and will not automate the outreach nor personalized to the extent like a human would do, and it looks stupid. For example, Line AI, Smart Writer AI just pulls the recommendations on your profile or the prospects profiles on LinkedIn and what they have added in their profile headline. And if the profile doesn't have that, then the personalization doesn't work. So my advice is here to create short emails. Let me just show you something. Because like 70% of all emails are open through the smartphones. When you receive the email, you have like the first thing you get is notification, the subject line, and the opening line of the email. So this is where for the first time you're grabbing the attention of the prospect. Or if they are on their web client, then you have the subject line and you can see the opening line of the email. So you need to use clear and simple wording with which you can explain the intention why you're reaching to these people. And the next step is when they open the email, you have 2-3 seconds. If you send miles long email, that's not going to work. If you add emails, interactive copy, yeah, that is for the marketing part, for the newsletters where people voluntarily dropped out their email and they want to receive that. But here you're the uninvited to their inbox. So you need to create, how to put it, you need to be able to explain the intention and why are you reaching to this person in 3 sentences, 3 short sentences, and what is the clear call to action, what you want them to do. Because we as human work on directives and orders. It's not like that you will threaten them to order something to do with the email, but you need to focus on the problem you're solving and the clear call to action. And the goal with cold email outreach should always be, depends on which part of the business you are, always need to be to move these people from the email to the phone. Hope I've explained the process as it should. You can always ask me now after the event on the QA, so I can explain additionally what I meant about the technical setup and afterwards on how these emails should be delivered. And if you do this correctly, for example, from 300 emails pushed, I'm getting like 15 leads, from which like half are converting into meetings. But follow the steps, create your ecosystem, and don't create more than 2 email accounts per the domain you bought, and you can scale the outreach properly.
Thanks you. I'm coming back to stage. Thank you, Borce. Let me just have a look at the questions that we have at the moment, Borce. You mentioned that from 300 emails that you're sending, you're getting around 15 responses. The first question was that, is it because of the messaging, the content that you're creating inside the emails, or is it more because of the preparation that you set on the warming up on the SMTP? How would you distribute the results?
I would say 30% goes to the technical aspect of it, and 70% goes to the copy. Because in the copy, my big claim is that under 8 minutes, I can find their bottlenecks in their sales outreach they currently have. 8 minutes. And I don't send 15 minutes because nobody knows you, nobody has the time to jump over 30 minutes call. And it's also the copy, but in order to make sure that copy gets delivered, then you need to plan the whole setup with the verification of the domains. And once you have the proof of concept, it's easy to scale. You can just push 10,000 new emails per month and there you go. But of course, you need to have the infrastructure afterwards to welcome all those leads.
Exactly. It's also a headache to have too many leads coming your way. But Borce, since the main focus is then on the copy and the messages, I'm sure that you've done a lot of campaigns around the world, internationally as well. Yep. So maybe you can share some insights with us based on experience, like, you know what, in the US, this is the tips and tricks that really work. Because I think the audience here is like, yes, Martin was talking about LinkedIn, you're talking about email. So maybe some advices or secrets that you can share with us when it comes to getting better results, getting more responses on the campaign.
Yeah. So in terms of, let's begin with the US. US people are more direct and straight to the point. And you cannot just go round and round. You should be more straight to the point when you send an email to them. So because they can easily decide either they're going to take an action or not. Same goes with the UK audience and the Dutch audience. While if you send emails to the Nordic regions, then you need to have like 8 steps campaign to start slowly warming them up, add value on each email, share some tips, because they get easily overwhelmed and you drop out of the picture. Of course, with the DACH region, you have these language barriers, so you need to go with the same approach if you go with the Nordics. And you can get a lot of false positive, let's say for Spain, Portugal, Italy. You can go with English emails, but their level of English is not that good, so it's just lost time. So to recap, with the US audience, UK and Dutch, you need to be precise what exactly you're going to do with them. pinpoint the problem, call to action. While with the other regions, you need to add value and build up the trust so these people can take further action and potentially get on a call with you.
Got it. Got it. Thank you, Borce. I have another question coming up. You've mentioned something regarding the length of the copy, but what about the subject line? What is an optimal length of the subject line that can bring a good open rate?
Yep, I always try to play with the subject line to be 3 or 4 words. Because if I explain in the subject line, then I let people wondering what is going to happen in the email. So you need to be lucrative, 3 or 4 word subject line, also call to action focused to open the email. That should be the subject line. While the copy inside, of course, you should avoid all these spam words filters. There are very good lists you can find on the internet what you should avoid to use. And I always want to make it sound personal. I include the prospect's name in the subject. And regarding the email copy, I stick to the, let's say, maximum 100 words, maximum. Because if you cannot explain it very simply with 3 sentences, you are going to confuse.
Got it. I do have more questions, Borce. It comes from Vasco. How do you clean the prospecting list before outreach? And the second follow-up is, how do you update it based on the outreach data? So once the campaign is up and running, how do you update the data?
Depends which tools are you using and what kind of data are you getting. For example, when we were doing campaigns with Apollo, before the emails, I mean, the emails are sent and then you get the outreach data bounced, which should be the other way around. With quick mail, we see which emails haven't been even enrolled to the campaign. And after that, there is a pretty good tracking inside where we can see if they open the email, forward that, and then based on that, you can play with a bit more complex automation. Depends what is your goal, to add lead scoring and roll them automatically on different campaigns and so on. But the main data, for example, for me is I tend to keep the math simple. I send that emails, I get that many leads. Of course, I want to see good open rate, but how this copy is converting is the amount of meetings I'm getting booked. So that is the main KPI I'm following. But you can always make it more complicated and see.
Yeah, you can always make it complicated. And the first question, I think it was that what kind of tools are you actually using to clean the prospecting list before outreach, before sending the button? Is there any tool that you can recommend?
Yeah, I'm using Million Verifier, where I pop up the list and clean it. That's the first cleanup. And after that, QuickMail has its own build-up tool for verification, additional extra layer of verification. Because Apollo says these are existing emails, seamless AI, Zoom info, but a lot of false data there. And if you go with the email Million Verifier Cleaner, then you can get that bounce backs up to 5%, but you want to keep it under 5. That's why they have this additional extra layer. But Million Verifier is a good deal. You have like for $100, like 100,000 credits to clean emails.
That's more than enough. So you're using a 2-layer verification in order to clean the data before the campaign.
Yeah, and specifically if you have some very niche, for example, we had a campaign for clinical trial software. There are around 1,000 companies you can hit worldwide because it's highly regulated niche. So you need to add like 5 extra layers to make sure that you're hitting the right people, because you don't have thousands of prospects afterwards to do experiments.
Yeah, it's a limited niche that you're targeting. And the one last question that I had, Borce, was that the English. You mentioned that it's much better when you do outreach on different languages. So have you tried English in non-English countries compared to their local languages? And how does that really work?
Yeah, for example, in Switzerland, because we have a lot of clients from Switzerland, it's more multinational, but still, if you stumble up to some, how to say, more conservative people. And we've noticed, I have an German partner in the other company, and we pushed one email on German. The open rate was double and the reply rate was double. For if we got from 100 emails, 40 opened, on German we had 80 opened. And the reply rate, even though if they were not interested, some of them, but they were replying politely that they will save the contact for later, or they recommended someone else in the company and so on. While in the Nordic regions, language barriers are not a problem, but you need to really add some value, position yourself as the expert in what you're selling.
Got it. Got it. Well, Borce, I think that we've exhausted all the questions.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the questions. And I know I screwed up at the beginning. I can do better if it's with questions, you know. But I hope that I added value and at least people get the idea on the strategy they need to put in place. The rest, the Google is your best friend to figure out how to do it properly.